everyone, so my name is Screen, and I need 10 subscribers to get monetized. Just 10 now. Alright. Well, anyway, so this is a minor follow-up from my last video where I reacted to episode 1 of Kamen Rider Black Sun. I still have not finished the first season of Black Sun. I might do another video about it when I do. I was thinking about maybe like comparing the timeline of Black Sun to like the original Black timeline. But this video actually has almost nothing to do with Black Sun, so it's okay to watch this video if you haven't watched Black Sun and you don't plan on it. The only thing this video has to do with Black Sun is, when I opened episode 1 of Black Sun, much to my dismay and horror, Minami Kodoro, who has always been faithfully portrayed by Tetsuo Kurata, was suddenly replaced by Academy Award nominated Best Actor Hidetoshi Nishijima, which was just baffling for me at the time. And when I saw that, I could only come up with two explanations. Either Kurata was too old or maybe too sick, or more disastrously, what I originally thought had happened was he'd been replaced by a more famous actor just for clout, kind of like what happened in the Mario movie where suddenly Mario is Chris Pratt, despite the fact that Chris Pratt is completely unqualified to be Mario. Like, that was my only, explainable explanation. Either Kurata had to be too old, or maybe they just wanted someone more famous, more healthy, more bankable. Except the thing that was, eating at me, though, only 4 years ago, Kurata had appeared as Kamen Rider Black. He had reprised the role for Superhero Tyson GP, Kamen Rider 3, and yeah, 4 years ago is not that much of time. I know it's a big difference between a cameo and a full series run, but I just didn't know what happened. So I asked at the end of that video if anyone had more information about it, and I finally got more information about it yesterday. Now, as it unfortunately turns out, there is actually a third explanation for what actually happened. And apparently, straight out of nowhere, Tetsuo Kurata was canceled during the pandemic. Which brings me to the dramatic story I have to go over with you today, the cancellation of Tetsuo Kurata. So this actually has a lot of pieces to it, because in the past 4 years, the man has just been on a complete nosedive through life. So let's start with part 1, the steakhouse statue crime. Alright, so to start off with, we have a complicated story, but this story basically started the ball rolling for the downfall of Kurata. And it deals with the nightmarish and draconian system of Japanese copyright laws that most YouTubers just fucking hate. So, one fine day, after he portrayed Kamen Rider Black in Superhero Tyson Kamen Rider 3, a super fan of Kurata's, who we're just going to call Mr. A, gave him this epic gift, a life-size statue of his Kamen Rider Black costume, and it's very, very cool. Here's the statue. It looks amazing. It looks just like him wearing the costume, except it's a statue. Now, here's the thing about it, though. Because of the way Japanese copyright laws work, Japanese copyright laws are so fucking vicious when it comes to, copyrighted characters and, IP and bootleg homemade items. So because the artist gave Kurata a statue of Kamen Rider Black, the law states that Kurata can never monetize the statue or do anything with the statue for commercial benefit, because if Kurata does, the creator will get in trouble for it. However, the first immediate thing Kurata did with the statue was basically commercialize it. So here's the thing. As it turns out, since his breakout role in the 86 Kamen Rider Black, Tetsuo Kurata had been acting non-stop in a series of big and small roles over the past 3 decades. However, acting roles are fickle, sometimes they don't pay well, and they're always hard to hold on to. And so, a number of our beloved tokusatsu superheroes, after they made their big money being superheroes, they've gone on and done what they could and used most of their royalties from their TV shows to buy franchise restaurants. Now, I've heard of a few places like this in the past. I'm very sure that several previous Super Sentai Power Rangers, Red Rangers have bought in various bars throughout Japan of varying qualities. And so that brings us back to our beloved Kamen Rider Black, who decided to spend his golden years at Billy the Kid's American-style steakhouse in Tokyo. A property which I don't think he created, but he's very much been the owner and operator of it since he bought it in 2008. And what's more Kamen Rider than Kamen Rider being a regular at a neighborhood steakhouse, helping his community and serving the kids a big heaping piece of dead cow meat. Now I gotta say, I got a real soft spot in my heart for Asian steakhouses. Some of my best childhood memories take place in Korean steakhouses, which are just fucking wonderful. They give you like a little cup of like steak sauce, they give you like a little cup of salt, they cut the steak up for you. It's a fantastic experience. Now, I gotta say though, looking at the menu for Billy the Kid Steakhouse, it looks very sub-average. I mean, like, it's just a Japanese restaurant in Japan, not trying too hard. It's got a few interesting gimmicks, definitely like tying into the Kamen Rider like backstory, and at least they sell cheap curry for $5. Now, what's weird about this video is we all have to consider like where our limit is, like how much bullshit can Kurata do and how much we can put up with it. Because the thing of it is, Kurata has always kind of cashed in on the fact that he used to be Kamen Rider. That's the main and only reason why he's famous. That's what got him famous in the first place. And now you guys really have to separate the character from the man, because here's the thing. Tetsuo Kurata is not Kamen Rider Black anymore. And to separate things even further, he never was, because Kamen Rider Black is a fictional character. He's a fictional character created by beloved dead mangaka Ishinomori Shitaro, and as far as I know, the rights to the character are mostly tied up at this point by the extremely legally vicious Toei Corporation, who recently gave my channel a copyright strike because I fucked around with Kamen Rider memes and found out. Anyway, the thing of it is, Kurata can only sell merchandise of himself, Tetsuo Kurata the man. He cannot sell, mention, or monetize in any way that he was the actor who played Kamen Rider Black, even though we all know he's the actor who played Kamen Rider Black. We all know that's how he got famous, that's all what he's known for. And now let's bring it back to the statue. So the thing of the statue is, Kurata, he had no damn place to put the statue. So he just decided to put it in his restaurant because there was space for it there. And everyone was super happy about that. It's like, hey, you want to see this cool ass statue of Kamen Rider Black? Well, let's go to Kurata's restaurant and see it. Oh, we're in the restaurant now? I guess we should get dinner here because it's like full of delicious steak. But again, Japanese copyright laws are so fucking vicious because this commercializes the statue since it's being stored inside a business where people are exchanging money, and this is soft illegal. Now, I can actually remember something similar happening in my life. When I was a kid, there was a place near my house called Powerpuff Girls Pizza, and this place literally had wooden cutouts of the Powerpuff Girls like all over it. Now, I'm not sure exactly what happened to this place, but it doesn't exist anymore because Cartoon Network probably sued them off the face of the earth. Now back to Kurata. The statue in the restaurant was a problem because as long as the statue is being stored in a public place or residence, it is simply a work of fan art. However, the second you put that statue in Kurata's restaurant, a place of commerce, a place where money is exchanged, not only is Kurata suddenly violating the law, but the man who made and gifted the statue to Kurata is a co-conspirator, a co-criminal, a collaborator in Kurata's law-breaking, because Japanese copyright laws are so fucking strict that if you make this bootleg item and someone else uses that bootleg item to commit a crime, well, you're committing a crime too because you aided in the criminal conspiracy. So this statue sculpture suddenly got super nervous because everyone's posting their cool ass pictures on Instagram and Facebook of like taking selfies of Kurata and the statue in the restaurant, and Kurata was just being completely flippant about the law. It's like if you gave Mel Gibson a bat and Mel Gibson proceeded to go on a violent rampage with the bat, and despite every night he didn't get caught smashing stuff with a bat, everyone would see him on the rampage and take pictures of him. And because you made him this bat, there'd be this lingering paranoia that if he got arrested, they'd arrest you too for giving it to him. Now, it should have just ended with that, but unfortunately Kurata monetized the statue even more, charging fans to take a picture with it, take a picture with him, take a picture of him with it, and I'm being told he even made like pins and postcards of the statue, which once again I have to completely remind you that Kurata does not own the rights to the character of Kamen Rider Black, the character he made famous and the character he portrayed on TV. So even though everyone associates him with Black, this is all technically soft illegal. Also, on that note, Kurata also sells a black steak and an RX steak at his restaurant, but those don't contain the word Kamen Rider, so those are fun parodies, completely legal. Anyway, so while Kurata was never charged with a crime, enough people let him know that this was not cool, and eventually Kurata bowed to peer pressure. He had the statue removed from the restaurant, and it moved to his parents' house. Now, if it was just this, I think I could just forgive Kurata as a man who played fast and loose with Japanese copyright laws, where his own legacy was at stake, which is something I see pretty frequently, like how Sylvester Stallone is like super pissed right now that he lost the rights to Rocky and that he was like cut out of the new Creed movie. But unfortunately, there is a part 2, and in part 2, the pandemic happens and Kurata suddenly acts like a creep. Alright, so part 2. We know global COVID-19 pandemic affected every country in the world, and the one thing it did to almost every country in the world was it extremely effectively destroyed weaker restaurants. Because people just stopped eating out for 3 years, and any restaurant that didn't deliver their own food or have very, very deep pockets, a money bin of sorts to stay afloat, just kind of sank into the ether. So Tetsuo Kurata, whose plan A for surviving the harshness of human life was being an actor who just couldn't find work consistently, had this genius plan B of running a mediocre steak restaurant in Tokyo, suddenly found himself in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic with both his primary and secondary means of income completely cut off all of a sudden. Acting projects were very rare at that time, and in the first year of COVID, safety measures for filming made almost all live filming too expensive to happen, and his back financial safety net of the restaurant was suddenly completely devoid of customers and hemorrhaging the costs of staying afloat, employing its employees, as supplies and people were quarantined in their apartments, and just, the pandemic was a bad time for everyone. So in April of 2020, literally month 2 of things being just complete shit in the pandemic, Kurata goes on YouTube and he does a live stream where he does this complete sob story about how all of a sudden, because of the pandemic, he has all these numerous financial problems and he's fucked. Now, at this point, a bunch of old school Rider Black fans decide to chip in and pay the man's bills as a sign of goodwill and respect to the dude who saved the fictional world in the 1980s. Now, once again, if it had just stopped here, this would have been great. Kurata would have got his bills paid. Unfortunately, Kurata messed this one up too. So, a little bit after this live stream, a couple of horror stories start to bubble up. Now, the first one and the most popular one contains a 30-something housewife who was a huge fan of Kamen Rider Black as a kid. She saw the live stream and was like, oh, Kamen Rider Black's in trouble. So she sent Kurata a little bit of money and started engaging with him over the phone via text. Now, at first, this was very cute, it was well and good, but the thing of it was, Kurata kept asking her for money over and over again. And this girl, she didn't have a job, she's got kids to feed, and when she eventually had to say no to him, he started acting like a total abusive boyfriend on her, and eventually he threatened her life. So she ended up giving him close to $3,000, which was like way more than she wanted to. And after he started like threatening her with violence, she finally just got pissed off with him and reported him to the cops. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't just her. After this, more people came forward, kind of a Me Too movement against Kurata, that they had donated to Kurata during that live stream. And then after the fact, he called them up on the phone, he'd ask them for more money, and if they gave it to him, great. But then he'd do it again and again and again for more and more money. And eventually, they just couldn't keep it up, and he'd get pissed at them and he'd threaten to beat them up. And ultimately, he would block them online, which was like the last straw for a lot of people. Now, also, after this incident, even more investigations went into Kurata, and another story came to light, that apparently he gave some of his fans a ride on a bus. Now, that once again sounds completely innocent, but unfortunately, once again, it's not because of crazy, obscure Japanese laws. Now, there is an aggressively stupid and rigid way that tour groups are constructed and conducted in Asia. And in Japan, if Kurata gave those people on his bus a tour, if Kurata was like, If you look out the left side of this bus, you'll see that spot where I punched a dog in 1989. You'll see some stuff that's been there for 15 years. You'll see an old picture of Hulk Hogan. Like, if he did anything like that while the people were on the bus that he put them on, then apparently he broke another law, which is the Japanese Travel Agency Act for unlicensed group tourism. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, apparently based on this law, it's apparently legal for him to put a bunch of friends or strangers on a bus. It doesn't have to be his bus, he just has to pay for the bus. But if he talks to the people on the bus like it's a tour group, then he's violating the tour group laws approved by the Japanese Tourism Bureau. Now, again, this is very, very legally ridiculous, but it's like, oh, god damn it, Kurata. Like, I'm really conflicted about the dude because he keeps doing these, like, seemingly innocuous things, but unfortunately all these innocuous things he's doing are white-collar crimes by Japanese crime laws, and he keeps breaking more and more to them. Okay, are you guys ready for part 3? Because there's actually a part 3 of this video. Part 3, Kurata spits on the legacy of Kamen Rider Black. Alright, so part 3 takes us to the modern day. Almost exactly a year ago, November 6, 2021, Kurata does an interview with Tamashii Web, and Kurata was speaking about his fond memories of Kamen Rider Black. Now, during this interview, he stated that so many Kamen Rider Black fans had visited his restaurant in Tokyo that they'd kept him afloat, and they'd all told him these wholesome stories about how they loved the series, how they still loved him, and that they really hoped he would reprise the role again. Kurata said in this interview that he believed it was his ultimate destiny to play Kotaro Minami, Kamen Rider Black, one last time and give the character one final closing out story. Now, as we all know, Kamen Rider Black's Sun has just come out, and that is that final closing out story. And Kurata was completely left out of the project, completely snubbed for his bad behavior and his white-collar crimes of the past 4 years, especially in the pandemic. So there's another YouTube video that's been deleted, and basically what happens in this YouTube video, he does a live stream, and during the live stream, some people go on to congratulate Kurata on the Black Sun reboot. And this was before it came out, and this was at a time when nobody knew he wouldn't be in it or involved with it at all. And he just fucking lost it. He publicly lashed out on everyone on the live stream. He publicly lashed out at the crew of Black Sun, and he said the following controversial statements. I don't like the story of Kamen Rider. Even if it is the 50th anniversary now, I'm not Kamen Rider anymore. I just happen to be Kamen Rider in the past. I don't really like Kamen Rider. And apparently these statements and his behavior on the live stream were so shocking that people just actively disowned him right then and there. A number of people also tried to apologize for his actions, saying he was just being emotional, maybe he was drunk. Maybe the main reason he was acting the way he was because he was so upset about being snubbed from the Black Sun project. He was really disillusioned. So a lot of people said he didn't believe it or he didn't mean it, but so many people were just utterly shocked and in full disbelief that he acted like this in public. The prevailing theory was that there was no way the things he was saying on the live stream could be true, because he literally named his firstborn son Kotaro after Minami Kotaro, the character he made famous. Just based on that, Kotaro had to have loved the role. How could you not name your son after your character if you didn't love that character? So some people believe that this rant is completely inconsistent with Kurata's past actions and how much he's promoted Kamen Rider Black over the years. And, it was a one-time thing, so a lot of people say we should just look the other way and dismiss it. But yeah, it's complicated. To sum it all up, Kurata opened a steakhouse. The steakhouse failed financially during the pandemic. And then Kurata skirted a bunch of white-collar copyright laws to try and stay financially solvent through the COVID-19 pandemic. But when that didn't work, he resorted to parasiting off his fans. And when that didn't work, he finally abused his fans. And that was not good. He was finally recast in Kamen Rider Black Sun, seemingly as a punishment for his actions then and there. And then here's where we're at. The dude literally went from a beloved, legendary TV actor to an abusive parasite white-collar criminal in the course of only 4 years, mostly spurred on by financial difficulties from the pandemic. It's really tragic stuff. Like, Kurata's fall from grace has been so extreme that people on Japanese internet have nicknamed him Kamen Rider Blockhead because he acted like such a fucking blockhead, and there was a bit of that old Charlie Brown, how'd you F this up so much, you damn blockhead. So he pretty much disqualified himself from appearing in Kamen Rider Black Sun, and the rest was history. Despite this, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I love the guy for what he did in Kamen Rider Black. I honestly gotta feel bad for him, I guess, because he has tried so hard to keep up his acting career. He did just this year appear in the live-action adaptation of Ghost Stories, and his restaurant side gig is still hanging in there, having survived the pandemic. The pandemic just fucked him up and made him act like a creep. I mean, it happened to a lot of people. Like, John Mulaney got horribly addicted to drugs during the pandemic. Like, I'm actually surprised he hasn't tried to cash in more on, like, convention experiences and, like, appearances. That's, like, what a lot of old American actors do. And Black is so loved, like, around the world that he could probably, like, just appear in conventions, like, around the world nonstop. But the guy's in his 60s. Maybe he didn't want to commit to a life of traveling the world. It's just kind of sad that Japanese copyright laws are so fucking strict that it's made him almost impossible for him to monetize the fact that he used to be a Kamen Rider. It's actually kind of sad and crazy. Again, I didn't see the live stream where he lashed out at people for not being included in Black Sun. But again, I'm trying to be sympathetic towards the guy, and just reading the transcript on face basis, it's possible that you can interpret his sad claims that he's not Kamen Rider anymore, just the actor who used to portray him, as kind of a bleak realization to the misery of Japanese copyright laws, and that he doesn't own Kamen Rider Black, Toei does, and Toei put this man through the ringer. Even though he is universally loved, and he's the main reason Kamen Rider Black is famous in the first place. So, I mean, ultimately, this is a tragedy. Alright, you guys, I'll probably have another, hopefully more happy video about Black Sun later. Keep subscribed to the channel. I need 10 more people to get monetized. Holy fuck. Alright, hang in there. Oh, and please watch some of my previous videos because I need more watch time to get monetized too. Alright, thank you guys. Later.